Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. My name's Amy Solomon. I am new to the Historical Society helping with programming, and I'm happy to introduce our six-time antiques appraiser, not in his lifetime, but in our lifetime as the Historical Society. He's joined us a number of times, and we're so glad to have you back, Ron Wackowski. And he's going to open this evening with something that the library has brought down from the local history room. Do you want me to hold it up in front of you? Sure. So the library is really excited to get this looked at for the first time in a long time. And we're opening with it because the library is going to close at 8 and it needs to get back to its home before we proceed. So
we can't hold on to it for them?
We're not allowed to borrow, sorry.
Not when I tell you what it's worth.
Do tell.
My name is Ron Wackowski. I've been doing it. I was actually born into it. My parents were antique dealers, and I left. Like good children, we abandoned the business, and I went into industry. And then around 40-ish, they told me they didn't need me, and everybody said, "Oh, it's age discrimination." It wasn't age discrimination. They could have hired 2 kids out of college, for less money than they were paying me. Everything's about the money.
Yeah.
So I said to my wife, "What am I going to do? The only other business I know is antiques." So here I am. I became an antique dealer, licensed auctioneer, certified appraiser. I was even a licensed gun dealer. If you're doing estates, you have to have a license to sell guns. So I did. In other words, I was a full service estate kind of guy, and I appealed to lawyers who would call me, and I could go and take an inventory of all the contents, make a certified appraisal that was good in a court of law, and then we'd go back, clean the house out, take everything to auction, sell it off, and then I'd give the lawyer a check. And my name spread like wildfire all of a sudden because everybody, it was an easy way out. And I love it. That's the important thing. I really love this business. I retired about actually I started 10 years ago, selling off the businesses. And when I closed, I was just explaining everything. One of the men who worked for me opened up a Canal Street antique mall. He knew this stuff 5 years ago. I'm still on top of this stuff. I can tell you, I've seen some really crazy. I saw at this Canal Street, right in Lawrence, an original baseball card collection that was mint. Wow. The first one ever done. I estimated it was $1 million. Wow. And I said, "You got to give this to Sotheby's." So he still hasn't cut. That was about 4 months ago. He still hasn't cut. Wow. Even this, like when I see stuff like this gun, this is fabulous. If you can see the inscription, it refers to someone named Flint. And if you know anything about these, they're called flintlocks. Yes. So I'm wondering, I haven't researched it or anything, but I'm wondering if there's some kind of connection between the name Flint and the mechanism on the gun or weapon. It also mentions that was used at Bunker Hill. So when you start taking all these factors together, a rifle like this an average rifle in this kind of shape would go between $2,500 to $2,000 today's market. With that information on, it probably is double the price, maybe $400 to $4,500 for that. And they should have it insured.
Be careful. Yep. Be gentle with it.
I would never fire that. I mean, it's legal. You don't need a license or anything to own those. But I still, even if it wasn't, I still wouldn't fire it. The way the law is written on weapons, as if the antique weapon fires modern ammunition, like if you could put a 22 in that 200-year-old gun and it'll shoot, that's illegal unless you have a firearm, license. Having said that, you'd be crazy to fire a 200-year-old gun with modern bullets. And this, of course, is a powder horn. I presume it went with that, but that's a presumption. And I can only assume, unless you have documents and you can verify what something is, you have to take it like in a general sense. It's just a general thing. Oh, wait a minute. Ah, 1798 DF. So whoever owned it was DF. Could be Flint. Okay, so now we're going to presume that this is part of that. I was going to say this is about $250, but again, because it goes at a set with this, we're going to kick it up to about $450 for this. The truth items are in unbelievably great shape for how old they are. And that's why if you see what they normally are, and they pay like $900 to $1,000 for ones that are falling apart. There was a time where these reconstructioners, these guys who went around and they would reconstruct the like Civil War or the Revolutionary War and that, there were some outfits were required to actually get the authentic uniform. They couldn't buy a made-up one. They couldn't get a phony weapon. They had to use the real thing. Eventually, that got so expensive, they changed their regulations.
Well, we have a minute in militia group here in town.
Do we? Yeah.
Tommy?
Yes.
We have a militia.
Yeah, yes, they were during the bicentennial, and they made capital reproductions of all their uniform and clothing, and at that time you could get for a reasonable amount. They were reproduction flintlock muskets.
Yeah.
I think some of them were made in Japan, others in Italy.
Now, did they require years ago before to be authentic?
No, not in that group.
There were some outfits.
But there were some that did.
But you guys fire the guns on
Oh, yeah.
Memorial Day
Yeah.
and 4th of July.
Well, those are reproductions, but modern guns.
Those are muskets and you can see the smoke. It looks really neat. It makes a loud noise.
Yeah, the great danger, I understand, is people attempting to, for example, put modern shotgun shells in ancient shotguns, and the result can be a real tragedy because of that would explode.
Any questions on it? Anytime you have a question, just do it. Okay, when we're on it. Do you have any questions about antiques, auctions, anything that you always wanted to know but were afraid to ask?
Because your perspective has been a long-range one, and it's very intriguing to see and read current articles of what's hot and what's not. I gather if I have a decorated Pyrex dish or something, that I got something that's valuable. I mean, it's sometimes amusing about these strange kind of almost flash in the pan.
Are you asking me about Pyrex?
Yeah, or what is hot or not?
Your answer is, you're not going to like my answer. It's yes or no. I actually have to see the piece. There are some pieces of Pyrex, the old one, with the fancy designs in that, the unusual ones. Those will be expensive. The the orange colors, it really varies down to. You still can buy Pyrex today. That's modern, but you can't buy. I'm talking about the white with the blue on the side, the cover. those are pretty normally priced. It's the rare ones that'll be most expensive. And yes, it's still collectible. People still collect. And like anything else, even in today's day and age, it's hard to, people are now, one day they say you gotta collect gold, the next day they tell you to sell gold, it's, buy this, buy that. I always tell people if you wanna get into, unless you're gonna be a dealer or something like that, and then the dealer's trying to figure out what the latest client is so he can, or the latest fad is so he can sell to his clients. If you're gonna get into it, you do something you like. You like horses, collect horses. You like cows, collect cows. You like guns, collect guns. Whatever you like, that's what you've got to collect. And I assure you, if your collection gets old enough and is in good quality, it'll have value later on in life.
I think you have an item right there.
Here's a piece. Put that piece. Okay.
All right, people, thank you.
Hand-painted Nippon. Everybody know what's Nippon?
Japan. In the war.
Not everybody knows though, right? I got some nosy as our country before 1900 did not require any country of origin. So people could make something and just send it here. Dishes, whatever it was, furniture. And then they made a law, I think it was like actually 1899 or late 1800, which said you had to put the country of origin. So the Germany, England, and in Japan's case, they used the word Nippon. And why they use Nippon? That's the name of their country, in Japanese, Nippon. So they used Nippon, and this law stayed on the book until 1929-ish. And that's when we told the world, add the words made in. So now it's made in Germany, made in England, and they told Japan, stop using Nippon and use the words made in Japan. And that continued until World War II, when we didn't import anything because of the war. And then after the war, it said made in occupied Japan. Yeah. And then now it's returned back to made in Japan. And there's a period there in 1920, 1930, where if you find them, keep them, because they're growing in value. They're very rare. It says made in Nippon. Because they added the words, but they didn't change the name of the country. So, who's this? How'd you get it?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother. This is beautiful. It's all hand painted. It's nice vase. Nippon like this, hand painted, will probably be $100, $110 to a collector. Your problem with Nippon is you have to find the right buyer. So it's like a dealer will say, put it in his shop, he'll put it on his shelf, he'll put $100 on it, it's gonna sit there for a year. And then the right person's gonna come in and say, oh my God, that's so cheap. And he'll grab it for $100. So it's not a popular collectible, but it is collectible. And one of the reasons that that's being affected is your modern generation. I bet you a lot of you guys got kids who say, I don't want that, that's junk, right? And they don't realize its value. And they also, if it doesn't go in the microwave, or if I can't put it in the dishwasher, I don't want it. And believe it or not, even when my parents were around, my mother referred to them as tchotchkes.
Yes.
Tchotchkes were dust collectors. And that's now gone full circle, because now the modern day kids, they don't have, well, with them today, they don't have the time to dust.
No.
They're, doing 2 jobs, kids, and they gotta get it to for, baseball practice, basketball, they don't have time for that.
No.
So all your good old collectibles like Hummels and all that, they went from $200-300 to $35,
Yeah,
$25,
Yeah.
almost overnight.
yeah.
Nice piece, thank you for.
Thank you. I love that word. Okay, those have been sitting in a drawer forever, and I'm afraid to open them, because I'm afraid the paper is
They'll fall
gonna
apart.
crumble.
The problem with antique papers is they're acid-based. So like the Declaration of Independence, that's been worked on. In fact, there was a place, a document place in Andover, Mass, that I think they're associated with Phillips, I'm not sure. But they worked on it. They take the acid out of the paper so that it doesn't, because what it's doing, the paper is actually eating itself. So that's why when you go, it's not you or the air, it's the actual paper doing it.
So we shouldn't bother.
Well, what it should be is, can you tell me what it is? I don't
And
know.
that's the problem, I don't even know what they are. I've
Do you
opened
mind
up
if I open
corners on it.
Can I open it?
Yeah, when you open up, I haven't opened that one, but like when you come over here.
Is that any good?
They look very big, when it's opened up.
Yeah, they look like beads, actually.
I have no idea.
This would fall into a group called ephemera, and there's a lot of people who collect ephemera, paper goods.
Oh, what wonderful writing, oh, that's not English.
You know, it's a shame they don't teach it anymore. All this
Script.
script, yeah,
Is that-
cursive writing is gone. And in fact, the government now is, one of the bureaus is hiring
They're hiring
people
Yeah.
to interpret so they, for future generations.
Writing, yeah.
Otherwise, they won't be able to read it.
Exactly. Kids don't get taught.
Ah.
Now it looks like it's going to be difficult to read no matter what that is.
Yes.
Oh, that's fancy.
Wouldn't it be nice if I told you, oh, you know, they're missing a,
Free and
they're
discharged.
missing in the Declaration of Independence.
No, it's free
It
and
is in English.
discharged.
Yes.
No idea. It's beautiful.
That is really awesome. And it's got the fancy seal on it
Oh,
and
right.
everything.
How did you get,
My husband, my late husband, did a lot of traveling in his job, and he loved shopping and collecting things. And he got these, I think he got these in a trip to, just a local trip to Washington DC, where that came from, but
Please come take a picture of it.
like I said, they've been in a drawer for decades.
Oh, look, the magnifying glass.
I'm amazed.
No, she was gonna,
this is gentry.
would she put it in
A frame?
a big frame, archival and yada, 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 away from the light?
What would be very interesting, this could be a deed that, like an indentured slave.
Oh,
Dentures.
What's the back?
Both sides. It's indenture of 3 parts.
It amazes me when you look at old documents,
Oh,
that they're all.
it's written by John Smith.
Oh.
I'm not making that up.
Yeah, because John Smith is, his name's right there.
Yeah.
I can't read what the other one is.
This is transferring something. Documents of this nature, in this kind of condition, I would probably put this at around $70 to $80 each.
For each one.
Yeah, but I got a big asterisk there. Because it really depends on who signed it.
Oh, and the condition.
What, like if this actually was a bill of sales for a slave, let's say.
Right.
Worth a lot of money. Stuff like that, if you have a document signed by Lincoln, and George Washington, I mean, they did these things. So you'd, if you, here, you know where Canal Street is?
Huh?
Yeah,
Canal
Canal
Street?
Street.
Do you know
I
her?
do, yeah, she's my neighbor.
Okay, if you find something like that, that you go and say, ooh, that's
That
interesting.
would be,
Any Wednesday, come and bring it to me. And
I'll
help
take
you.
her over there.
I'll help you with it.
I'll take her.
We're there, I'm there at 10 o'clock.
If
I'm not
bring
there,
them to you,
Steve
you'll
is-
open them, or I should open them and look first?
You look at them.
Okay.
You don't want me to open it there, no. No, it's not that, I wouldn't want them to get hurt, so.
Okay.
You can hurt them, but.
You're absolutely right.
Thank
What do we
you.
got here? Ooh, have some very interesting things, people, thank you. Well, there's no marks on the, there won't be in the bag. Just a number. A Waltham.
My good name.
A Waltham is, that's what made the city, Waltham. Waltham.
That's where I grew up.
There was, the.
Waltham Watch.
There was a saying they had, I'm probably not gonna get it right, but something about, the trains run on Waltham. Every conductor it was noted for its accuracy. So, train moves in 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah.
This is this probably this size. Who's this?
Mine.
How'd you get it?
It was my grandfather's watch. He worked on trains.
He
And
worked on
they were
trains.
out in the Washington State area.
Yeah.
And so those watches traveled a long way.
All the way, yeah. What you gotta do when you go home, I don't have any of my equipment here. There's a tool that'll snap off the back, but anything will take it if you get a nail file or something.
Sure.
You can, even your, but this one's on tight. Sometimes I can get them over, but
Have you ever opened the back of it?
I think.
Because it's easy.
What you're looking for is, it's gonna say 14 karat. It might also have like scales, 2 scales like that. That would mean it's gold fill. I can almost tell you that this is gold fill. It doesn't seem to be working, you know, and you're missing the glass. So with all these damages, if it's not gold, it's probably $80.
That's what I meant, yeah.
If it is gold,
I
then
was
you're
told
talking a
it
little
was.
bit more, huh?
I was told it was gold.
Yeah, I have like I say, it could be, but
Yeah.
there'll be marks. If it's gold, there'd be a mark on either here or on the other side of the cover.
Okay.
The covers were usually made by a different company than the actual watchmaker. And certain companies had different indications of what the metal was. Most of the watches I see are gold filled, although 14 karat gold, I've even seen them 18, you know, and they're the bigger ones. I mean, some of these watches can go into the thousands. But yeah, this, because of its damage and that, if it's sentimental, I would invest in it. Something like this, even broken, is not going down in price.
Yeah.
You know, because you have a base metal, that is fluctuating. I don't know if he's probably around my age, and I'm 83.
Yeah.
So he probably is not business, but if you give him a call, his
He's
name
gone. He's
is
gone.
Deemers?
Pardon me?
Deemers? No, I'm not talking
okay.
about the watch repair one. His name is Deemers, he's on, it's Broadway or Main Street in Lawrence.
Yeah, we call them demurrers.
Demer, D-E-M-E-R-S.
Okay.
Really nice guy, is
Yeah.
honest, he'll tell you, you know, don't even bother, because I'm gonna repair this and it's gonna break in another minute, so.
Yeah.
But take it to a good watch repair person, and I would have it done, and
Yeah.
especially, and then pass it on to the next generation.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, yeah, you could, that's small enough, you could even wear it as pendants.
Well, that,
Yeah,
usually that's, women do that.
Yeah.
That size, women will wear that size.
Yeah.
I think it's called 7, but don't hold me to that.
Jeannie's in there.
Circa 1850. How'd you
My
get,
husband,
your husband again?
someplace in Japan or Hong Kong or Thailand.
Well, these are probably Chinese. The Chinese are the ones who are noted for their tea. Ginseng, Y-U-S-I-N-G. There's a, like a, what they ever call them, it's like states in China, that they made these pots, and they're very collectible. And this one is metal, and you don't know what that says. It probably says tea.
Probably, they drank a lot of
Yeah, they could say love,
Yeah.
they could say a lot of different things. There's no other markings on it, but it is handmade, you can tell by this over here.
Oh.
This is all made by hand. It's very collectible, people would pay, I'd say around $100 for this.
See?
Yeah. Metal.
I wouldn't.
It makes a good pot of tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You could kill somebody with that.
I know.
Leave that here, I don't want to break anything. Because then I'll have to say, this is worth $5. This is a true story. This is a true story. I'm at an auction, auctioning off things. Check it out. And who's gonna give me 150? Crash. How about $2?
Oh my
True
God.
story.
That in your earlier days?
No. Well, there's a thing floating around on the internet. Look it up. I think it was from Bear Esper or something, but it was Italian. And the guy is, going in. I got 1 million, then 2 million, then 3 million. I got 4 million. Who's gonna give me 5 million? 5 million. Anybody? Sold. And he. The commercial is, ever had one of those days? Right here. Who's this? The neighbor.
What's that?
You're the neighbor.
Our
You're the neighbor.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we're neighbors, yeah. But I love old stuff,
Oh, you're gonna love
but she
me.
doesn't. Yeah.
I like a lot of it, just I don't like all of
You don't have to apologize.
it. No, I'm explaining to
My
her,
whole
not
house
you.
is, my
Would
whole
you-
house
would
is-
you
I have a house full of old stuff.
Would you believe when I first married, my wife hated this stuff. Today, she loves it. Our whole house is nothing but antiques.
I guess your neighbors.
I would,
Her husband used to collect stuff. so-
I'd go to the auction and she'd be, like she'd run, you know what a runner is?
Yes,
That
yeah.
people, so she, to save us money, she would do it, something, because you'd have to pay these guys. So she'd say, and I'd let my people who worked for me, the only way I could get good people is that I allowed them to bid. Everything was straight, they weren't bidding on their own stuff. Everything was up above. So she'd stand there and I'd hold this up and I'd get 5, 10. Now you gotta understand, what I had in my hand was mine to begin with. And I'm auctioning it off to sell it for more than what I did.
Yeah.
So she ends up buying it. So then I get home, I said, why did you buy this? And she says, well, I liked it. I said, do you know you owned it before you bought it? That happened, she never would check with me. She never would check with me. But we're still married.
That's a beautiful thing.
How'd you get this?
My mother, she was fascinated with Cabo de Monte.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if that's...
I don't think it is, but my dad and I used to take me as a little girl to auction.
Is that where you bought?
Yeah, that's where that was bought.
I'm
And
gonna-
I think Mearsman, was it Mearsman that was the
Mearsman.
auction there?
Oh,
Back
you're
in the
going
old
back
days.
a lot of, you're going back, yeah, a long
Well,
time.
I'm almost 80, so yeah, I was a little kid.
I think this is out of the 50s.
Out of the 50s.
Yeah, it is hand painted,
Yeah.
but it's one of those dust collectors. So it's not gonna have a big following, and therefore it's not gonna have a big price tag, probably $40, $45.
Yeah.
What I call, people talk, oh, this is top shelf. To me, what top shelf is when you have something that's, say, worth $500, but it's got a big broken back. So you put it on your top shelf.
Yes,
All you do is see the front. That's top shelf.
I have a lot of top shelves.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah.
I think there's 2 little pieces on
Let's do pictures.
It's mine.
Family?
It would, yes, my grandparents and my mother.
Okay. So you don't want to get rid of this,
No.
period?
No.
You just want to find out what it's worth?
Yeah. I'm curious about what time, about how old it is too.
You had it repaired, right?
No. Oh, yes, I did have it repaired.
She told me that it had been run over by a truck or a car.
It had been really damaged.
Wow.
And
Whoever did it, they did it.
I took it to Sims. My sister couldn't find anyone in California to touch it. And so I brought it to Sims in Reading.
Wow.
And they repaired it. And I couldn't believe it. It looks brand new to me.
That's what I was just gonna say, it doesn't look.
No, there's no markings on it or anything.
Oh, you grew into a nice young lady.
Oh, that's my mother.
The baby is your mother?
The baby is my mother.
Oh, and that's you with your...
The couple is my grandparents.
Oh, your grandparents, I thought
Yeah.
that was you.
Yeah.
Ooh, he's strong. He's a
Yes.
serious man.
That was my French birthday.
Although that, I shouldn't say that because that's all men back then were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, no business.
And I think this is gold plated,
Okay.
because when I look at over here, you can see how the brass is acting. So I'm presuming if it's brass here, it's gonna be gold plated there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if the whole thing was brass. I kind of assumed it wasn't gold, but,
Did you shine this just recently?
yeah.
Oh,
But it stays
when did you
pretty
shine
good,
it?
just before I came.
Okay, well, then it could be, because what brass will do is, that there was like sheen to it, what do you
Not
call it?
much, no. I
But
mean,
it was still, it needed polishing.
Yes.
Yeah, gold won't tarnish.
Oh, okay.
So gold, that's why when I looked at it and the kind of condition it is,
Oh, and filled
I shouldn't have, but I assumed it was gold. It's probably brass. That's
Okay.
fine.
Yep,
And you have 7, I'd like to call them rubies, but I can't.
no, I know.
So, they could be.
Well, they were replaced, Sims replaced them. They were
replaced them,
little,
okay.
almost
And they-
looked like, most of them were gone. And when I brought it to them they replaced them.
They did an unbelievable job.
They're a great tool.
What you wanna do is this has more value to you than I can put a monetary value
Okay.
on it. I mean, if you saw this in a store without
Okay.
pictures,
That's
you'd probably have $18, $19 on it.
Oh, okay.
That's all. But like I say, with the pictures in it and yours, and the pictures, because they're so old, they also, not a lot of money, but there are people who collect this stuff.
Right,
They do.
right.
But pass it on.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I will, thank you.
I wish I had my grandparent.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the box.
That's worth less now.
How's it, this same thing?
This was, my father gave that to my mother before they were married.
So, now we're gonna find out, how sure was he?
Yeah.
I presume they didn't have a lot of money.
Mill workers, they're all from the Lowell Mills, my parents and my grandparents. Oh. Send that to you from the cinema. Yes, for sure.
I don't recognize the manufacturer, it's called Van Dell.
What was it again? You could see your name on that?
Yeah.
He's got good eyes.
No.
Even like that, I have very good eyes on some.
Yeah.
I'm taking a picture of it and you Mark's picture. Things only like that. Oh, yeah.
He likes her. It's gold filled, 12 karat. But it's still considered costume jewelry.
Uh-huh.
It's about $45.
Oh.
No, I'm just as surprised as you, but probably for different reasons. That happens to me a lot.
Yeah.
Where I'll be looking at something. I once, this is in my earlier days, I appraised a motorcycle, one of those hogs, what they call them, Harley Davidson. And the guy came in and it was beautiful, it was all chrome and everything, and I'm thinking, what a motorcycle. Came out to be $28,000.
Oh, my God.
What?
I know, I know.
Yeah, because he did all this stuff. I'll give you, we're not going anyplace. Another story, one of the things that happened during my life. So I do this appraisal for this motorcycle. He goes, gives it to his insurance agents, and remember, this is considered an antique, a collectible. So he gives it to his agent, but he's riding around in it. And about 3 or 4 years later, he comes storming into my shop. He says, "You lied to me, you this, and I got in an accident, it's costing me money, and the insurance company's denied me because you're not on the list." And I'm not, you know, when you go get in an accident, you go to I'm not that kind of a person.
Yeah.
You know? And I told him that up front. I said, you know, this is, and he told me, he said, "This is a collectible. They're telling me they can't appraise it, they gotta come to you." I said, "Oh, in that case, ask the insurance company why they took your premium why, you know, they accepted your payment for 4 years."
There you go.
Came back the next week, said, "Thank you." And then I was, why, you know? That's what it was worth. You said you took his money.
Yeah.
So could you
You don't
just tell me
worry.
the name of the
Vandell, V-A-N, 2 words, D-E-L-L.
oh, okay, thank you, thank you. Thanks.
Little history.
Little history, yeah, it was my great-grandmother's. She was born in the late 1880s in Italy, came to the United States turn of the century. It was always hers, handed down to me from my grandmother. No idea what it is, we just consider it folk art, but I got it from my grandmother in the 1970s, when I was a teenager.
You see this bottom? That tells it everything.
Yeah.
It's probably Indian or Persian.
That's what I guessed.
It's all handmade. If
Yeah.
you look at it, you can just slightly, it's so well made, you can just barely make the imperfections. And I mean, this is a nice piece. Most people wouldn't recognize it, but the people who count do, you know, they know what it is.
The painting are
This-
beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, well, it has to be if you're telling me it's that old. If it isn't, then it's a fake, and you're not telling me the truth.
No. Well, my grandmother told me it was her mother's, so that makes it my great-grandmother. And she said that she always had it. And what the timeline is of she always had it, I don't know.
You're not gonna like what I'm gonna inform you. It is hand-painted, it is handmade, and they're starting to get age cracks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And to be honest with you, I don't know how you protect them.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Just sits on the shelf, hasn't been touched.
Top shelf.
Yeah, yeah. No, the family loves it. We just consider it folk art.
I'd
but-
say it's probably has a value of around $135.
Okay.
Very, very nice piece of artwork. I'm not, when you say folk art, you're bringing it much, this is an antique piece. This is antique, this is, you know,
Yeah, it's gotta be at least 100 years old.
oh, well, you're telling me it is.
Yeah.
And the age cracks confirm that. This is, you can see it, and what it is, it's just getting old like everything else. It won't break unless, you know, you like maybe drop it on the floor. Even if you dropped it like on a carpet, it might crack more.
Yeah.
But if you take care of it, it should last.
Yeah, it's pretty sturdy.
Thank you.
So this is light, and this is
Is this all there is?
heavy. No, we've got more coming around.
Surprise.
Alicia, I won't be here till 1.
Well, glad you weren't on the, yeah.
You do know this is brand new.
Is it?
Yeah.
Who's this?
It's a reproduction of a Titanic, white star line. It's fascinating. I actually did a whole thing of the
explains-
Titanic.
Yes, it goes with it, it explains it. a little bit.
One of these, I can tell you, one of these stacks, it's there just for, I think it's this last one, just there for good looks. Did nothing. It was,
You really only had 3 stacks?
there were only 3 things in the boat that made it go.
Yeah.
One of them was a dummy. Ship that could never be sunk. So it's only got maybe $10. And I might be high on that.
She paid more for it.
Did she?
I don't know. Did you pay more for it?
It's not even mine, it's my neighbor's.
Ah, I tell you exactly what they paid.
Yeah,
there's
there's
a
a sticker on it.
$9.95.
You're right.
Yes.
It increased in value.
It's increased in value.
Well, Bob's on a
What do we got?
movie.
That's funny.
Let me hold it. Or stand it.
Wow, that's a beautiful picture.
Who is it?
Lincoln.
That's Lincoln, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln had it my entire life. My father got it. I'm not sure where. We had a Victorian house full of antiques. My father passed away and everything became my mother's. And I grabbed that because I didn't want any harm to come with it or it getting sold, but I have no idea how much it's worth or
That brings back another story. I did
my
an auction.
father collected antiques. How he got it, his knowledge and this and that is beyond me.
At an auction, we did an auction in the state, and there was 4 children, and they all wanted the same things.
I just
So,
have a brother.
you know how the lawyer solved it? He put everything into auction, and he told the kids to bid on it. So they all, now here's an interesting thing, they all knew that they were gonna get a fourth or whatever they paid back. 25, they were getting a 25% discount. But there were other people in the audience who also wanted it. So it was very, very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's got dust on the bottom. I'm to the point I'm almost scared to dust it because I'm scared it's gonna, you can see a few cracks and
Oh, I wouldn't be afraid of it.
and the velvet smushed from,
Well, Lincoln, of course, has been, he's been popular all,
yeah, he's my favorite president too, that's why I figure if it's not worth anything, oh well, I'm still keeping it because it's my favorite president.
if you really study the history and that, I mean, I'm not taking away from, I think he was, him in Washington, where,
Yeah.
you know, Washington for saying, no, I don't want to, you know, I only want to serve 2 terms and that, and him for making us all equal. But he would have done anything to, if, you know, when like me, I get exposed to a lot of stuff. His main concern was keeping the Union together. If it meant keeping slaves, he would have kept slaves.
Yes,
If it meant,
exactly.
you know, whatever it meant, he was gonna do it. And as it turned out, I mean, there was a whole kind of movement there that was anti-slavery. So, they're the ones that got him elected. Yeah, and you gotta also remember this case right here, it's like Shuttlebox, that's old and it's valuable,
Is it?
yes.
Very nice.
And I can't get at it, I would love to know what that head is made out of.
I always heard it was a marble, but I really
It is
want,
heavy?
just from what I was told.
That would be pretty heavy if it was.
Oh, it's very
marble.
heavy.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why she's not holding it up.
That's why I told my
Keep
husband.
that hand.
And I had it wrapped up in a fleece thing, because I'm scared it's gonna somehow chip or this or that, or who knows.
Let's see what my cheat sheet is. As a certified appraiser, I can go in across the country and ask other appraisers if they had anything like this and what it sold for.
I've looked online and I can never find, I can find bus, but not in a picture
Let me see
frame.
if I
And militia meeting too.
Here in New England, what we do is, in the summertime, we bombard our wood with moisture. And then in the winter, we suck that thing out. So, you know, what I see, you'll see it too, I'm sure, where you take an old chair or something, and there's a big crack right down. That's because throughout the year, it's going like this. And eventually, that tree is trying to return back to the way it was in nature, and it just cracks. So if you use that liquid wax that they put out, we should do it to all our furniture, you know, at least once a year.
What's the name of it?
It's Howard's, they put out a whole brand, it's called Howard Restore Finish.
I think they have a wax, so it's
When you,
cacao wax.
there's a wax, if you ever sell furniture and it's got like water stains on it, and a dealer's gonna come in, he's gonna say, oh my God, I gotta refinish, look at that water stain, it's horrible. Howard's Restore Finish, you put it on with a little fine steel wool, and the water stain just goes away immediately. It's amazing stuff, they put out amazing products.
I use oil, linseed oil.
Linseed oil is good, but the Howard will have the linseed oil and then some.
Yeah.
They have got other stuff in it.
Yeah, people should never put furniture polish on their wood.
So this is a note that refers to this painting. So Brenda.
Yeah, how, yeah, I used to leave this, it's what you call 4R, that's four R.
And has people that have it, because I think the line more than what's on there.
Oh, I see.
Many
Then I know a lot about new stuff.
I have cats on it.
I have ones that printed all of my furniture.
Yeah. I'm waiting for this set to come in, and I'm watching, so it's pointless to do it now, so they just
I
do it again.
had 5 cats. I actually had 5 cats at one point.
This note is saying, who is this? It says that it's Curry and Ives.
Right.
Curry and Ives, they were Currier and they were Ives, and then they came back together in about the mid 19th century. And they were famous for, you know, back then they didn't take pictures. They actually drew stuff, and what they would do is they got famous for, like, if there was a fire in New York City, they'd actually draw the fire trucks coming and all that, and them putting out the fire. There were tragedies that they got. I could be wrong, but
We have
I'm not saying that they
we have this is morning, and we have another one, a farm, that's evening,
That's
different
evening?
animals.
yeah, I'm not denying that. I'm just wondering if, I don't think it was Curry and Ives who did them. I'm not saying that, I'm trying to take away.
No, her parents, bought it. It was a woman that I used to visit when I was growing up, and she was 100, and her whole house was like a museum. And this was, she said that her parents bought this when she was a teenager, and that the guy came to the house and sold us pictures first, and then they bought the pictures and then came with the frames a week after, and the frames didn't fit the pictures, so they folded them or cut, I don't know, they cut or whatever.
Ooh,
But
maybe that's why they're not ID.
Right.
Because if it Curry and Ives,
Would it
you're
have
gonna
been-
see, yeah, their name's gonna be on the left. On the right would
That's
be
why.
the painter who painted it, and then the middle would have been the title.
That's why she wrote
See more writing on the letter on the other side.
yeah, that's why she wrote the letter,
Yeah.
But, yes, and I haven't taken it out of the film, out of the frame, the frame.
It's fine.
Yeah, but you don't think it's
In
covered
a
as-
court of law, what they would call this,
It's nothing.
no, it's hearsay.
Okay.
Because it's only hearsay. We only say that she wrote this. That doesn't mean it's true.
Right, right.
So we presume in our business, people aren't doing this. You know, she doesn't sit there and say, I think I'm gonna write a note that says this, so that 20 years from now, somebody's gonna be fooled. Actually, more than that, this is 64.
Yeah.
60 years. Turn around, let's see if I can do it this way.
It's a wonderful farmyard.
I love it.
I know, I like it just
I
because
love
of
it.
the
And the
farm.
grass on back and those trees.
I like the cow myself, or the bull, or.
That's what I looked at.
Yeah. And the other one has, the animals are at night.
I bet it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But
Well,
it-
at night, it's a big peak walk.
That's a lot of people that probably not mucking out, that's by the way.
Farmers will tell you.
Yeah, but at the farm, it's not poop, it's fertilizer.
Oh, it's bad. And you can do the lantern too?
Yeah, we've got a bunch. We have about 10 pieces remaining, just so you know.
Really?
Yeah,
But they're smaller pieces, right?
yeah.
No, there's that wonderful.
There's a big one.
Oh, the 15 more times there.
You shouldn't have destroyed that. It actually was made by Korean Ives. The price is probably in its condition now $50 to $80. If you still had the original,
The bottom, yeah.
probably over $1,000. Because when I remember that the condition was pretty good. If you ever run into that again in the future, fold them over.
Which I don't, I didn't do, I wasn't alive, would I? Yeah.
Could be
Yeah.
folded, right?
It could be folded, it could be cut, I don't know how they did it, but I.
You can buy reproductions of it for $7 and $8.40 to deliver.
There you go.
And morning is going for a little bit more, $20. That's a shame.
Cool.
Now you got stories to tell.
Exactly.
That slide rule isn't really antique, it's just those of us before calculators, the slide rules.
Well, and then you put your,
And Joe Sadler was a long-time person.
you hit the nail right on the head. It's very, very limited market. The only people that will be interested in buying this would be somebody who's studying,
Us engineers.
arts, mechanics or mathematics or stuff like that. And they're buying it as a collector, to show what it was like before computers.
Yeah.
So you have a very limited market.
I wasn't planning on getting rid of it.
No,
I grew up using slide rules.
I would say this is probably ivory.
Okay, ivy on wood? Okay. It's very, I don't think it was his workaday one, because it's too good a condition. I think it was, one that he carried with him, just, when this big one wasn't available.
And it says, made in Japan.
Yeah, I've forgotten about that. Yeah.
So how old is he? Is he still around or?
How old was Joe Sadler?
About 93, or 78.
So let's see, so.
He died a few years ago.
So that would probably put it in the 50s. So this was actually made prior to World War II.
Really? Okay.
Or it was made, either that or he picked it up in like in the 60s or 70s.
Well, the calculators came out in 73, because that's.
Okay, so then he probably bought this in the 60s.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
But it's like, like a $20, $25.
Yeah, okay. It was a sentimental piece for those of us who know what a slide rule was. It was-
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Dave knew exactly how to use it.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I never could figure out how to use it. Never.
You weren't allowed to take them into a test.
Huh?
You couldn't take them into it, when you were having an exam, you couldn't take them in.
Yeah, these kids take,
It was early as.
they take their cell phones in it.
Oh, God, yeah, I know.
Ah, this.
That's cool.
My grandfather, he came down from Nova Scotia in the early 1900s and before World War II, because he was enlisted in the U.S. Army. He worked on boats.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I do have the other handle, I just have to get somebody to solder it in.
This is in great condition.
Yeah.
Is it? Well, it sat on the mantelpiece at my grandmother's house all my life, so.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
And supposedly had kerosene in it?
Yeah, right in the burner.
It's never
Okay.
been.
You still can buy it, you know, they're so popular, you can buy it's a little strip, a cloth strip that
Yes, the
will
wick,
fit in there,
okay.
the wick, yes.
Yeah, I have some
And,
religions with that.
It'll go up and you can light
Um,
it. You can actually even buy the oil, they sell the oil.
The quick clean is what it is.
Is that what it is?
Well, rather than using pure kerosene.
Oh, no, you would use it to be smoke
Oh,
out.
so
Yeah,
it's
no, that
smelly.
other stuff. Yeah, no, I wouldn't dare use it, my family would kill me.
What they also did, this one is clear, so it's more of like a thing, but they also were red and green,
Yeah, they're
and then
red.
they would put them up and they'd be like warning, things like left and right or whatever, you know,
So that's got that shutter, so it would be able to almost like mark,
maybe that was how they did it.
yeah, it sits down at the bottom.
Yeah. Anyway, this is, over 100, probably
Yeah,
one,
it's like-
maybe 125, 135.
Even the
Nice.
prize,
The
Jenny.
glass is in really, really great shape. Minor scratches. Nice.
Really cool. Wow.
I don't think it'll fit you.
That's, somebody had a good time with that one.
I'll tell you a non-antique story. I was stationed in Berlin with the wall. I was sent to language school, taught Russian, and they sent me to talk to these Russians. And I used to ride a duty train from Berlin to Frankfurt. We'd go through East Germany, and we'd stop and, if I was ever caught doing it, I would have been, probably, I wouldn't have been court-martialed, but I would have been reprimanded.
Yes.
The Russian would have been shot
Yeah.
for committing capitalism.
Yeah.
But what they wanted Zippo lighters.
Oh, yeah.
So I would go and I traded with this one soldier, private, a Zippo lighter for his belt. I still have it to this day. A belt buckle with the Soviet emblem on it. He pulled it right off his palm.
Wow.
Because when I went like that and showed him the Zippo,
Yeah, he went
his eyes went, whoa.
Yeah.
So he pulls off his belt and showed me, yeah, so we make the trade. So I get back and I measured, this is what the whole story's about. The guy had a 23-inch waist.
Yeah.
23 inches. I mean, I put it on and it was like, what the hell?
It was like a woman's waist.
Well, then not only, and then what he didn't realize, I guess, well, who did? It wasn't his belt.
Oh.
He was planning this. But with the belt he used was from World War II. And he probably picked it up thinking, oh, this old, piece of crap.
Right.
Put it on and that's what he gave me. But it actually fit him.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah,
That's amazing.
so. Belly dancer?
I have absolutely no idea. My parents had traveled all over the world, and it's just one of the items that intrigued me and had no idea. And a jeweler couldn't tell me. He just said, you might have value there. That's all he could tell me. I didn't know.
What was it?
Did he test it for,
No.
did he test
They had
it
so
for
much
silver?
value. Huh?
Did he test it for silver?
No, he did not. He didn't know.
What did he say you had value?
He just looked, I don't know. I was showing him about 20 or 30 other items, so it wasn't a.
Do you have a magnet with you?
Do I? No.
Yeah, you could tell with a magnet.
It's true. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 prices then.
Okay. Pick one. It's a little damaged, I know.
Silver's soft though.
The silver's up there. Around $30, I think.
Yeah. I just think the work we shipped was nice, you know, and,
Yeah. I think it's Indian, might be Persian.
they had lots of Oriental raw, I mean, literally they've been Nepal, Africa, anywhere.
Yeah, it's probably rich class. Okay, if it's just straight metal, probably around $45 to $50. If it's sterling, probably got $300.
Is it just worth the metal?
Oh, well, the metal is gonna give you, what, you don't think $50? It's,
No, I
Yeah.
know, I didn't know
no,
what it was.
yeah, the
I didn't know
metal,
where it
any,
was
I mean, that'll like the watch I had. If
Yeah.
that was 14 karat, it's gonna drop it off.
Yeah.
It's what they call scrap metal. So your scrap value is so much, and then what that means is you're taking out the diamonds, you're taking out the metal, you're melting it all down, and that's what it is. But there's a certain artistic,
That's what I was wondering where.
and that's what you have here. This
Okay.
is, but again, it's very limited. Your market
Yeah.
is, if you have a lot of people chasing something and there are few items,
Yeah.
you're gonna get a lot of money. If you have a lot of items and a few people are chasing it, you can't give it away.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell you something else, do not, and I'll repeat that, do not buy anything from Franklin Mint,
Oh, yes.
anything like that. And the reason why, unless you like it, if you like it, then by all means buy it. Because just remember, it's about what we like. But they, you know, insurance companies have actuaries. They figure out how many people are gonna die, we're gonna get so much insurance, and then we pay out so much and all this. That's what they do. They figure, okay, we're gonna make this belt. How many people are gonna collect it? Oh, there's gonna be 1,000 people that are gonna collect it. Okay, we'll make 1,000,
Yeah.
and we'll sell it for $35. So they go and they make their $35,000, and now we get into what they call the secondary market. So you come, oh, I'm tired of this, I don't wanna own it. What are you gonna give me for this? And now you discover everybody who wants one owns it.
Right.
$5? And then they'll throw you out of their house. It's happened to me. And I feel sorry, I had a woman who literally, she must have had 2,000 collectible plates.
Oh, yeah.
Still in the boxes.
Yeah.
And she was retiring and she wanted to sell her collection. And when we told her what she was gonna get, she actually, please leave, you're trying to rob me.
She what?
She said, get out of my house. You're trying to rob me.
Oh, no.
I said, no, I'm trying to auction your stuff off, and I'm trying to be honest that this is what you're gonna get.
I know. It's like Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beanie Babies, surprisingly, there's certain Beanie Babies for some reason kept their value.
Yeah, I know.
But 99% of them are.
Right, like you said, everybody had them because they were collectible.
Well, grandmothers used to fight over them.
I know, they did. I wasn't one of them, I had all grandsons and grandsons. They didn't want them.
There's some writing on one of the sides for the date.
AED 1747. Interesting. Slow death. No, this is lead.
Okay.
So it's got lead bases, so what people do is they drink this.
And I thought it was a canteen my parents come from Germany, so when I Googled that, it did come up with World War I Army canteen. But I don't know if that's true or not, I have no stories for it.
None if this is true, this is, I would go more with this 1747.
Okay.
I mean, look at it. Even if we World War I, it would look much better than this.
Yeah.
This thing, it should be like that. What happened is heat made this, because it is lead. There's, it's melted down. It was hot and somebody pushed on it, the thing went down. And then it got hard again. You'd be there too if you were, what, 300 years old.
Was it in a fire maybe?
That could be. But it's still collectible, especially for its age and that. And again, I'm presuming, I'm just putting it all together. We really have no way of knowing if that 1747 was put there in 1747 or in 1983.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't, to be honest.
No, and so am I.
No, I know, but you have no way of proving that.
Yeah,
No.
right.
Well, there are certain experts who could, which was, if I was going to do, like, if somebody said, do a real, appraisal on this, I'd have to research it. So now I would have to go back to 1747, look at this, the shape, who made these kind of things, where did it come from, England, Germany, France. It's really, really involved. And I would first tell the person, you sure you want to do this? Because it's going to cost you more money to figure it out than what it's going to end up being worth. But I would probably put this at around $85. It is a nice piece. Don't drink. Now, later on, they had pewter. There's probably, this probably is a mixture of pewter and lead, but there's more lead in it than pewter. And what happened is the pewter, over the years, it finally got refined, until today you can actually drink out of pewter. But I wouldn't trust it if something that was made before World War II. That's still got lead in it. I mean, God, when I was a kid, when I started driving, you went to the gas station and said, contains lead, right on a pump. So. I shouldn't make jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, what a sweet.
Thank you. So
Cutest baby.
So that's not actually the piece that we were interested in. That's the artist that's painted the larger piece.
Oh,
We brought that in for reference. She's my great aunt. She painted this piece in high school as part of the war effort.
What did she eventually do?
Died. She died of influenza the next year.
Oh, wow. The what?
Influenza. She died at 16 years old.
Oh, in what, 19?
A year after she painted that.
A year after that. Do you know what year it was?
1919 or
18.
The big influenza?
Is it 1918?
wow. 1918.
Wow.
She was a great
I love that.
That's amazing.
we had it framed. The frame is in the original.
No, she was good.
Wow.
Frame is perfect.
Yeah.
She was 16 when she did that?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
And the frame dates back to that too?
No, we had it
You
framed
had it
ourselves.
framed?
There's actually two of these. My brother has one that's unfinished.
Well, it's a different picture.
It's a different image, but she painted two of them, and he has one right now.
Did you have it mounted too, like that? With a.
I had the pleasure of the laureates. Remember the laureate chain?
Oh, yes.
Well, we auctioned off the gentleman's estate, and what he had up in his attic, what had happened is the government gave him posters for the war effort. But this was for World War II, and you got World War I here. So these they were men that were still independent. What happened is the war ended the following month. So he put them up in his attic and it sat there.
Wow.
Till we took them out. So I know what these things go for, because I had people calling from Alaska bidding on these posters for World War II. And the rarer the poster, the more money we got. And what we have here is one of a kind.
Yes, beautiful.
Now, what I'm about to say, I could be low.
We're not selling it.
But, but maybe you want to insure it.
Yeah, you sure can show
Yeah.
it, yeah, I know.
I would say that thing probably at auction might go between 3 and 3,800. 3,000, 3,800. It's really great. It's one of a kind. It's well done. It's got everything you need. The war stamps. It even tells a little history here of who did it. The whole thing. And they're very collectible, extremely collectible. And like I say, you got one item, there's a lot of people that'll be chasing. If you ever, or you or some future person, and I would not recommend you sell it because it is a family heirloom, I would give it to somebody like Sotheby's. So, you know, an auction house like that.
Well, I'm gonna tell my brother that they're worthless and try to get the one.
Brotherly love, I love it. It's something my brother would do to me. I have a sister who's 95, I'm 83. She just last week referred to me as her kid brother.
Oh, you have Paddington Bear.
Huh? Who's this?
I brought it, it was just given to the Historical Society by one of our members. She said it belonged to her great aunt who was born in 1906. And she thought there was a little hole in the bear's ear and wondered if it could have been possibly a stag bear.
It could have been.
What is that kind of bear? What does it mean?
Stipe, it's a brand that's still, I believe the great grandson is running it out of London.
Germans.
Yeah, Stipe bear, they're famous. And there's what they call the Stipe button. It goes in the ear, and like he says, what people would remove them, you know, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean it's Stipe. Again, this is one of those things, if I had it, I would research for you. Oh. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure if it's Stipe. It just not. It doesn't look to me as the way Stipe manufactured bears, even the older ones. So you don't, because of its condition, you don't have a lot of money here.
No.
Maybe it tops $20.
Right.
Yeah. Now, if it was Stipe, if it did have the button, and it was from 1900, you'd probably have $700 or $800.
What are the eyes?
That's what I was looking at. It looks like somebody put pins in it, like they replaced it. They're like, they're not, that's what happened. Somebody took a pin and took like a button and put it in. They're not original.
That'd be painful.
It sounds very painful.
Is there a website for Stipe?
Yeah.
That you can get values for old Stipe?
I'm sure there must be. You can buy them.
I've got about 80.
You what?
Got about 80 going back to 50s.
Let me explain something. When you, like, people will go on the research on, like, so let's take eBay.
Yeah.
You go on eBay and you go, oh, this item's selling for $100, that's great. No, it's not. It's what the guy wants.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to use someplace like eBay to check out a price, you go on the left-hand side, there's a column. You go they hide it. You go all the way down to the bottom, and it says sold. You check that box, and then what it does, it tells you all the sold ones.
Okay.
Now, they too have a site called, the name escapes me. They charge you a membership, and they will tell you what these things are sold for. But if you do enough digging, you can find another free site that shows you everything listed on Amazon, eBay, stuff like that, and the older ones. But you gotta do a little research. But going back to eBay, if you do the sold ones, it will come up. But it's only gonna come up for like maybe 6 months or so, and then it'll tell you not available, only because they want you to buy the membership. So, you know. But do you actually have a?
Well, I had them when I was growing up, and then I had all my brothers and all my sisters, they didn't want them. And then some for my mother, when she was a child.
They even have a official US site. The Stipe Club. You know, I don't know what the value of some of your Stipe are, but that's a pretty big collection. I might look at a high-end guys are trying to trick me now. This is
I'm the guilty one.
Yeah, is it a real one, this fossil?
My father collected that in the early 60s out in Minnesota, yeah.
Well, it's a little older than 6.
500 million.
Yeah. They're not valuable.
No.
Unless
It's a
you.
good example, though.
Huh?
It's a pretty good example of one that's not.
Yeah, and what they use them for, paperweights.
Yes.
They just put on paperweight. So because of what it is, and that it still can be used as, you know, has some kind of use, it's probably around $40.
Yeah, yeah. Curiosity.
If anybody wants to see what a real old thing looks like.
It's a trilobite. Trilobite. It's an anthropod. It went extinct in 2010.
I saw somebody placed it together, so they can
You need to put it on.
Okay, John.
Thank you. Is this yours?
My daughter bought it at the yard sale.
Where?
She liked it.
At a yard sale. Yeah, I think it's, have you done any research on it? I
My
think
wife
it's,
looked, and there's like 100 different things that look like it.
yeah, I think it's Aztec, Mexican, yeah. The only thing that's throwing me though is the eyes.
I know, but there was a bunch of them like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, these probably, this is all modern manufactured. This probably was bought in a gift shop in maybe Mexico City or Cancun, you know, and they brought it home. Not a lot of money yet, maybe $25, $30.
That's me too, those other two things too. They were at my grandmother's and they were always there, I don't know. Is that the silver cup they talked about being born with in your mouth? Looks like something chewed on it.
Yeah, this is a sterling silver. It's got an English mark on the bottom.
Yeah.
It's beat up though.
Yeah.
Everything
I'm
about
about
the
to see it.
Something on there.
And those two have a number stamped on them, that's, one's like 58, one's 55, I don't know.
They're manufacturer numbers. Oh, something's on these.
I was wondering, mostly that cup, how old do you think that cup is?
Which one?
The cup.
The two of them? I believe they're the same.
Yeah, those two are the same.
Oh, you're talking about
Yeah,
this?
the other one.
Yeah,
Oh,
that cup.
Well, if and this is strictly a guess based on what I'm looking at. There's no country of origin. I'm pretty sure that is a British mark.
Yeah, my grandmother was like 100, she'd be like 150 now.
Well, what I said earlier about it, to get into this country, it had to have a country of origin unless it was made prior, you know, before 1900.
Yeah.
So you know that this was made, you know, if I have books about that thick about English marks, and you can actually look this mark, and each one is a different. One's the city. One tells you the content. They're all different. Each mark means something different. But suffice to say, it is sterling. This will shine up really, really nice. You know, if you take some silver polish to it. I think you'll be impressed by the way it looks.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is probably around $85, $90.
They used to give those for baptisms for new babies.
Not bad.
My mom has one with her name on it.
Yeah, we do too, for when the baby.
Yeah, that's a baby cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is not a baby cup. Even back then, well,
Well, no, that was the size of the shop.
that could be, yeah, that actually could be an old baby cup, because right there's the mark.
That's what it's supposed, in the
Yeah, is
family
that what it is?
law.
Yes,
Yeah, because I didn't see this space here.
yeah,
And that's where you put the name.
right, and the date, we usually put the date on that. And it was always sterling.
That's beautiful.
And the same, does she collect British stuff?
Yeah, I think she did everything British.
Yeah, this is British too, and this is also old. These are little creamers. But this isn't sterling. This is more like, again, I wouldn't drink out of this.
Maybe that's what happened to the time.
Then you're talking about a time like, back then they would spoon salt
Yeah,
and shake sugar.
right.
So what they did is you had individual, like little creamers, and you also would have little salts. The father would have a big dish, and he passed you, and he spoon them in, and you pass it back down. They're very collectible. The salts are, because they use it for marijuana, not marijuana. What do they call it? Dope stuff.
Yeah.
Cocaine, that's the word.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but that is a market, and it does raise the price, and I have to
Yeah.
take that into consideration. But these, they're about 30, 35, I might even be high on them each. So they're nice, they're in great condition. And even this design here, if you research it, you'll find out that dates it. And I'm using my memory. I think this is around 1850-ish, that, you know, that thing with the hook. Yeah, it's about the mid-1800s that this design was around. Chalice.
It has a British hallmark on it. I think it puts it on the rim, and I mean the rim of near the lip. And I think it's either something like 1879 or 1901.
So it's sterling?
So it's sterling. Yeah, I think it has the rampant lion on them.
So it's probably, this also will shine up really.
Yes, I should have done that before.
Nah, it doesn't matter to me.
With those,
Some people say, well, don't shine it up.
would that have been probably part of the set for?
I'm having the feeling it's more like, well, if it's British, it wouldn't be Catholics, it'd be Episcopalian.
Episcopalian.
It's
Yeah,
probably.
But it doesn't have any, there's no
it doesn't.
ecclesiastical designs on it.
No, it doesn't.
Maybe in their.
No
rectory.
grapes or crosses or
No.
anything ecclesiastical.
Maybe they're in their rectory, that was like.
No, I think it's just for someone who wanted a very
Well, you know,
fancy wine goblet.
you know, the answer is yes and no. They would
Yeah.
come individual,
Yeah.
and they'd also come in sets.
Yes,
But we were talking about the individual one here. And because it's sterling, you can still use it. It's over 100, maybe 115, 110.
Yeah,
It's a fun one to end on.
Well, yeah,
It's a little different.
this is when the electricity goes off.
You're glad to have
I
it.
have one in my house.
Yeah, those were, they were the best ones.
Is it yours? Or-
I was cleaning up at church.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's funny.
That's a pretty fancy one.
Yeah, it is, it's a nice one.
It is a nice one.
Yeah.
And it says stainless steel, in case you don't know.
And we'll go to the highest bidder.
Even mine has a wooden handle, fine.
Yeah, ours wasn't that fancy. Mine's definitely cheaper. Mine is definitely cheaper.
Yeah, I know.
There's still a market for this.
Yes.
People buy them, they cook, they use them. I'd say about $18, $20.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that makes great meringue. Thank you.
That's
Thank
it?
you so much.